Hi, everyone. My name is Elaine, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. I'm so grateful to all of the speakers who shared their expertise and wisdom so far this month. And you'll recognize bits and pieces of many of the talks and wisdom you've heard throughout the month in my talk today, as I share with you 4 simple, high impact steps to follow through on your health commitments by taking responsibility for your health and well being so you can continue to serve the world in the beautiful way that you do. I'll start by telling you how I got to where I am today, why it's so important to take responsibility for your health, why it's not your fault that maybe you haven't been able to follow through in the past, and how you can finally make those healthy habits stick. My story starts over 6 years ago when I became a teacher. I took an alternative path to certification, and I was committed to making an impact in the education system and helping to close the socioeconomic and racial opportunity gaps. I gave my all to teaching and completely neglected my own physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. I was a martyr, and I kind of got a lot of satisfaction from giving up everything that I loved for the kids. Fast forward 4 years, and I found myself sobbing in front of a group of strangers in a self development class about finding your sacred spiritual gift. The facilitators were asking what we could share with the world, and I felt empty. I was reaching down into the depths of my heart. I was like, I can feel it in my chest, and I can feel the emptiness in that cavity as I found nothing left. I had nothing left to give, and I felt guilty about that, like I'd done something wrong and failed at my life's purpose. Shortly after that, I received a second wake up call when my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and for the first time, I was faced with mortality so close to home. And in that moment, I realized 2 things. The first was the importance of this moment and that life is so much bigger than I'd been experiencing it. Yes, I was passionate about education and making an impact in the world, but I wasn't experiencing the beauty of nature, of connection and community, or of fun and vitality. I wanted to live well now and appreciate every facet of life. And I wanted to be well so I could continue to serve the world. I could no longer operate as an empty vessel. The second thing I realized was that health doesn't just happen to us, it's an accumulation of decades of small decisions. I recognized that I was on a path I didn't want to be on, and I needed to change my health habits so I could be well not only now, but for decades into the future. By recommitting to my physical, mental, and spiritual health, I reconnected to my purpose and found joy and service and generosity again. I received my health coach certification from Duke Integrative Health and will complete a master's degree in integrative health in 2024. And now I help other purpose driven women find harmony between their passion for impacting the world and allowing themselves to take the time to be nourished without guilt. And one of the biggest factors in your success or failure on a health journey, or really any journey in life, is recognizing that you have to be the one to do it. As Stephanie Pasniokis mentioned at the beginning of the month in her talk, Be the Boss of Your Health, no one can do it for you. No one can fix your health but you. Honestly, it's easier just to throw your hands in the air and say, whatever, I'm going to live my life while I'm young, and eat the cake and drink the wine and binge the latest Netflix show and skip the gym and skip the party and stay up late scrolling through TikTok and it's easier to always be for other people at work, at home, in your relationships with your kids, because then you can blame the other people, right? But they needed me too, but I had to stay late, but I needed to work on Sunday, but it's not on them because you're allowing your life to go in this direction. You're allowing others to use your time and energy, and you're allowing your life to pass you by without getting to take a moment for yourself. And that's not sustainable. It's not going to last. Eventually, you'll run out of steam, either physically or mentally or emotionally or spiritually. We've all heard it. If you don't slow down, your body's going to make you slow down, and you won't be able to serve others anymore. In fact, if you let this go on for long enough, you may then have to depend on others to take care of you. So, always taking care of others and not taking care of yourself is actually pretty selfish. And the selflessness comes in when you prioritize yourself so you can continue to be healthy, clear, loving, generous channel of good in the world. So let's talk a little bit more about what happens when you don't fuel your body with adequate movement, sleep, nutrition, and care, both in the short and the long term. We all know this. It can lead to poor physical and mental health, a reduced quality of life because you're limited physically and mentally. You don't have the capacity to pursue new goals and passions, so you miss opportunities. Financial strain from healthcare costs, strained relationships with people who have to care for you when you're ill, people who have to hold space for you when you're mentally or emotionally unwell, and people who you can't see when you become immobile or isolated in your home. How about if you do finally follow through on making yourself and your health a priority? Basically, the opposite, right? Improved physical and mental health, stronger relationships, and longer lifespan and health span. You're healthy for longer and therefore get to enjoy life for longer. And a sense of empowerment and control that permeates every area of your life. So when I look at those two options, I know which one I want, but why does it seem so hard to get there? Well, it all starts in the brain. So let's imagine that you have a certain amount of energy at any given time. Now, this energy can increase or decrease based on what you're doing for your body and your mind, how you're nourishing yourself. And now imagine that that energy is flowing in a river. And at the source of the river, it's wide and it's flowing. You have unlimited energy. But as it flows down, you send your energy out into different directions. We're going to specifically look at health supporting behaviors that we try to adopt. So the energy is flowing and you think, I want to try the keto diet. This is a stream that flows out of the river. Some of your energy is going there. So maybe you do some research on the keto diet and you buy all new foods, you meal prep for a week, and then you add in exercise, another stream. And you schedule 5 classes per week. In that same week, you add in some supplements and you try to overhaul your sleep routine. And as you add in more and more things, your attention and capacity to focus on any one of those changes, any one of those streams, slowly tapers off. So each stream eventually dissipates, but your energy has flowed out. So your main river has gotten narrower. So each stream dissipates because it was too much work to erode a new path for the energy to flow. And your river is getting narrower and narrower because your energy is flowing every which way, but you're determined. So you try to pick up more habits. You try meditation and reading and finding a new hobby. And eventually it all seems more draining than what we want, which is nourishing and fulfilling. And your riverbed starts to dry up. So you give up on everything and you feel like a failure and like maybe you're just meant to live this way. But you're not a failure and you don't have to live in pain and discomfort and fatigue and stress. We've wired our brains with certain pathways, the river, our entire lives. So our energy flows easily through those pathways. And when we want to start something new, we have to wire a new pathway. We have to do some work to erode away, to make the way for that water, that energy to flow before we can put all of our energy that way. So the mistake a lot of us make is trying to do too many things at once or going all in before we've set a foundation for change. Can you imagine sending all of the water of the river in a new direction without forming the riverbed and the banks? And then the water just floods the land. The energy just floods our brains and we can't stick with it. It's not directed. But the good news is we can rewire our brains, and it takes intention, small changes over time, and attention. So here are the steps to do that so you can choose your health and finally follow through. The first is intention, goal setting. Now we have to remember that health is a lifelong journey. It doesn't end when we lose the pounds. I think most of us know that, right? The destination is the journey. We want to get to the journey of being able to live this for the rest of our lives. Oftentimes in health, people set outcome oriented goals, such as I want to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, or I want to sleep 8 hours every night. And the problem with outcome oriented goals in health is that you can't really force your body to do anything. With weight loss, your body is going to do what it's going to do. It may take time to heal something that's going on in there first before it can release the weight. If you stop drinking alcohol and start exercising consistently, but you don't lose the weight, does that mean you're a failure? No. With the sleep, what if you're shutting off screens 2 hours before bed and in bed by 10 every night, but sometimes you lay awake for hours before you can fall asleep and you don't get your 8 hours? Did you fail? No. So instead of focusing on outcome oriented goals, we focus on process oriented goals. You can only control what you do in order to get to that desired outcome. So we can still desire the outcome, we can hold that vision, but we can only control what we do along the way. And those are process oriented goals. They focus on the steps you take to get to your desired outcome. I'll exercise 5 times a week. I'll drink 1 glass of wine 3 nights a week. I'll eat a vegetable with every meal. I'll shut down screens an hour before bed. All of those are completely within your control, and they focus on what you'll do over time in order to get to your desired outcome. The second step to making your habits stick is breaking down the goals into small steps. Is anyone else an all or nothing girl? Yeah, I used to do this all the time. I'd go hard on a diet for a few weeks and then lose the will and give up. I'd go hard in my first workout back in the gym and then be so sore for days. And then by the time that I'd be ready to go back to the gym, I'd have lost motivation. This goes back to our brains and how it takes time to etch out those new pathways to make behaviors habitual and easy. So we start with small steps. Let's say I want to start working out. So I'm going to sign up for a gym membership. I'm going to look at the class schedule. I'm going to pick one class that I'd like to go to. I'm going to put it on my calendar. I'm going to pack my gym bag the night before, etc., etc. Do you see how many small decisions and actions are involved in that one goal? And if we just say, I'm going back to the gym, that all those steps kind of get conflated into this one big goal that we have. And then we just don't do it because our brains become overwhelmed. They become flooded. So if we try to do it all at once, our brains get overwhelmed and we just can't keep it up. After we set the goals and break them down into smaller steps, we need to build our accountability muscle. And we know accountability and we love accountability. There are two parts of that. There's self-accountability and partnered accountability. Self-accountability is about taking responsibility, following through on your goals, and accepting the outcome either way. Some ways we hold ourselves accountable can be by becoming aware of our thoughts and beliefs and cultivating more positive thought patterns. This is hard and takes a lot of work. We can find a mentor or role model that we're working to emulate. We can choose activities that positively impact our well-being and that we enjoy. Create routines that make it virtually impossible to not do the thing you're trying to do. Managing your time, tracking your progress in a journal, an app, or a calendar, and staying anchored in that motivation, that desire, the vision that you're holding for now and for the long term. And the other part of accountability is having someone to help hold you accountable. Accountability partners can be helpful for some people, not for everyone, so you have to decide if this is something that you might want to try. When you're looking for an accountability partner, you want to make sure that it's a mutually beneficial relationship and you're both able to take something away. So you need to be on the same page and same level in the area that you want to work on. If one person's further ahead, their relationship may become one-sided, where they're providing a lot more value, and so maybe you get the benefit of that, but they're not taking anything away, and ultimately it's just not going to work out. You want to be able to connect regularly, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, and have similar expectations. To be really effective, all of these expectations should be explicitly set at the beginning of the partnership. And you need to remember that when you have an accountability partner, you are still responsible for your progress and success or stagnancy and failure. So, there you have it, the 4 steps to making those pesky health habits finally stick so you can continue to make an impact and serve the world and thrive in every area of your life. Set process oriented goals, break them down into small steps, find out how you can best hold yourself accountable, and find an accountability partner. Don't forget to download my freebie, which gives you space to work through those 4 steps for yourself. And sometimes, even when we have the steps, it can still be hard to hold ourselves accountable and follow through. So, a coach can be a great source of accountability for many people. If you feel like you struggle with this piece, I would love to help you get there. And I do one on one coaching in a 6 or a 12-week container to help you take control of your health and well being once and for all. You can also join my free Facebook community where I offer trainings and insights like this one weekly and free resources to help you along this journey. You can find the link to that Facebook group on the freebie. And I thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and I'll see you soon.